You burn your stuff like I used to do when we first got married. Scrape the rice off the bottom. It was very crunchy.
We ate at Jason's Deli a lot when we first got together.
We did. I loved their salad bar. That was a great salad bar.
Because it wasn't burnt.
Dang. We're your hosts, Reggie and Kala, photographers, educators, and parents who believe you don't have to follow the rules to create a thriving business and a life that you love. Here's the truth. You have the freedom to create a business that fuels your life, not one that drains it. To break away from the traditional grind, step fully into your purpose, and build something that gives you freedom in your work, your home, and your family.
Whether you're just stepping into your calling, scaling your business, or juggling parenthood, we get it. Maybe you're just trying to figure out how to make your dream work. Either way, you're in the right place. We're here to give you the real, unfiltered conversations about building a creative business, balancing life and work, and the hard-learned lessons we wish we knew sooner. We're not just here to talk, we're here to equip, encourage, challenge, and guide the next generation of creative entrepreneurs who are ready for the freedom to create something meaningful. Today, we're talking about business decisions that are based on facts and not feelings.
Yep. Facts, not feelings.
Is that all you were going to say? With
I don't you don't care about everyone else. Because that would have been mean.
But you thought it. Yeah, I figured. Anyway, so why are we talking about facts, not feelings today? Making business decisions based on facts and not feelings.
Because feelings are fleeting. Facts are hard, cold, true proof evidence. So that's why we want to focus more on the data versus the feelings that we feel day to day.
Okay. I think, for me, the reason why when we make decisions in our business is because, your feelings can lie to you sometimes. Mm-hmm. Who you should work with or what you like to do. I mean, your emotions are a great data point. Your emotions are not always accurate.
True.
If someone is anorexic, their feelings are going to tell them that they're fat or they shouldn't eat, but their feelings are lying to them.
Right. And facts are different.
We do that just in the same realm in business decisions, of making decisions based on I shouldn't go talk to these people or whatever just because they don't need me or they don't want me or they're not interested in photography or they don't need someone creative.
So whenever you first start photography, it's really hard if you see somebody and they're like, oh, what do you do? And you're like, oh, I'm a photographer or, whatever. But if you think about it, if you've been doing this just say you've been doing it for a year and someone asks you that. I remember when people were asking us that after transitioning out of our, in that middle in between of still working a full-time job and also trying to make photography full-time. And someone would ask, what do you do? And, we would say, oh, we do whatever at our day job. And there was no confidence to say we are a photographer. But the facts were we actually are a photographer because we're doing that on the weekends. We're doing it on weeknights. And so it was just a feeling that we had of we didn't have enough confidence to fully step into that and say, hey, I'm a photographer, or yeah, I am a photographer, or I'm a professional photographer.
Yeah, I remember when I worked at Food Line, one of the ladies that worked up front, she was like, hey, I need you to do pictures of my daughter for her prom. And I was like, well, I'm not a real photographer. I remember telling her that. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't have a degree or anything. In my head, that's how you became a real photographer, is by having credentials of this is who I am and this is what I do. Not I'm really good at this and I add value to people because I'm good at this.
Right.
But yeah. So, and also whenever you start thinking of photography more as a business and not so much as a hobby or just something that you like to do, your feelings are going to fluctuate daily.
Yes.
Because you haven't developed the discipline to be able to go and do something day in and day out when it's fun, when it's not. And the story you're telling yourself isn't always true. Mm-hmm. Do these people need me? No, they don't need me. They have whoever. Someone else can do this. They'll go hire a real photographer. I mean, there was a person in my family that wouldn't hire us because they said that we weren't real photographers. They wanted to go have a real photographer take portraits.
Oh,
do you remember
my
when that
gosh.
happened?
I do remember when that happened. And it was for a wedding. It was for weddings, or a wedding, excuse me. And it's just like, we've been doing this it was what, like 4 or 5 years at that point, and it's like, oh, they're not a real photographer because they thought we weren't a real photographer because we didn't do like studio style, like your, like,
Yeah, like Olin Mills.
Olin Mills, yes. Olin Mills. That's
Olin Mills was a good one.
So that didn't make us
We
a
should
real
do
photographer.
prints, just like we should do prints like Olin Mills has and like or had.
Do a little
like,
watermark?
No, they had them like it was like engraved. It was almost like
like a
embossed or
stamp.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, in the corner, the bottom corner.
But it wasn't
gold.
just like a print. Like it was actually like pressed into each image.
Mm-hmm. That would make us a real photographer. That actually makes you a real photographer.
Yeah, that's how you know when you've made it.
When you got the stamp
Yep.
of professionalism.
100%. And there's nothing wrong with studio stuff. That's not what we're saying. What we're talking about is like
What
just
makes,
because you don't do something, it doesn't mean that you're not something.
right. What makes you a real photographer?
Right.
Taking pictures, being consistent. If you're doing those two things,
I
you're
do
a
think you have to
photographer.
have a camera.
Yes. Well, you have to have a camera to take pictures. Well, no, you don't
remember,
actually.
Yeah.
No, you don't. I take that back. I've been corrected. We won't go down that rabbit hole.
That's
But
another
anyways.
day. That's definitely a hot take. If you don't have a camera, you're not a photographer. You can't be a photographer and not have a camera.
But Reg, I just got the iPhone 17.
It's got an amazing
Plus.
camera. You could be a content creator.
That is true. Hey,
You're
I love
not
the
a
content
photographer.
creator.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
We like our content
I love
creator
my content
friends.
creator friends. Yeah, absolutely, I do.
They do something we cannot.
Mm-hmm.
We can't make content, apparently.
But let's not go take a wedding on a iPhone. Let's not do that, friends.
Family portraits outside at a park.
Yeah, no, not cool. But there are folks that are doing that. I see it in groups a lot. And then I see people that are mad in groups a lot because they're like, I hired this photographer and they showed up with an iPhone and took our family pictures. And it's just like, why was that not communicated on the front side of everything else?
You know,
But
I
mean, it surprises you.
You don't have to take every portrait or every picture that you use for like your profile pictures on Instagram or whatever.
Sure.
You don't have to have all of those with your camera in your hand, but I think one of them on your website should have your camera in your hand.
I think so, yeah.
Like lawyers don't have pictures of themselves at their law office holding legal documents.
Yeah.
But like, you know,
So-and-so's
you have
divorce
like
papers.
certificates and their degrees and things like that.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to see one picture of your photographer with an actual camera to know, hey, I'm not going to show up and they're going to come in with a GoPro.
Yeah. Ew.
But see there, your feelings might steer you the right direction when you see they don't have a camera in
That
your
is
hand. Be like,
true.
hey, I don't know, maybe my intuition's right. They're not. Yeah. So maybe your feelings don't always lie to you, but they
Maybe
don't
not
always
always.
tell you the truth.
But mostly for business decisions, we want to make sure that those are being done in clarity and not comfort.
So what's an example of making a business decision in comfort or using your feelings to make a decision maybe that we've done?
Oh, I got this.
Because I like
one,
using
yeah.
us as an example, because if anybody would like for us to share your example, just send your example and we'll definitely share that on the podcast. But until then, we'll just use
We'll just
ourselves.
roast ourselves. It's fine. We'd like to do that.
That's why we're good mentors. It's not because we've done everything right. It's because we've done most of it wrong.
Everything wrong. Everything wrong.
So what's one decision that we made in feelings and not facts?
One big one for me was pricing, because I was terrified to go up in price. And the reason was because of the feeling of no one is going to pay that. And that wasn't true. If we look at it, we go back, we look at it, and that was actually one of the most successful times of our career, was that first really big jump, almost doubling our prices.
Yeah.
Because we were seen as, oh, wait, like they're legitimate. They actually do know what they're doing, versus why are they charging so low? You
Yeah.
know, why are they not charging more
Something's
than
wrong
this?
with them.
Something is wrong with them. So
Something is wrong with us, but it's not
there
our
is something
pictures.
wrong with us, but it wasn't price.
It's Kayla.
Yeah.
You know what I think about? Remember we were doing this education on, like, what was it? Like lead gen. We did some education on lead gen and how the guy sold it to us and how we bought it.
Oh my gosh, that was one of like the worst business decisions we ever made.
Yep.
It was very feeling based now
Yep.
that I'm thinking about it,
Yep.
because we were in a very it was a rough patch. We had just had Elliot. I'm almost positive we just had Elliot. And we're like, okay, we're not getting leads the way that we feel like we need to. We're charging this. Our work looks great. We're just not getting the leads. And so this guy was basically like, hey, I don't even remember what he did. Well, he didn't do anything, actually. Hold on. That might be the end of the story. No, but seriously,
It
I
was
was
some
like,
type of lead gen, like on Instagram
it was some
or
sort of lead
Facebook.
gen.
It might have been Facebook at the time.
Maybe it was a Facebook ad type thing. No, it wasn't ads, was it? No, it was ads.
It was ads.
It was Facebook ads, yeah. So we went all in on this course. It was like a couple $1,000s, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think we ended up paying like $1,800 or something like that.
Yes, but there was a money back guarantee. So we're like,
Yes.
you know what? We feel good about it. If we do this in 30 days, if we're not seeing what we
I
need
don't even
to.
think it was 30. I think it was like 60 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe 90.
That was one of the reasons we made that decision,
Yeah.
though. Because we're like, oh, well, we'll hit the ground running. And if it's all on us, like, we're going to make this work in 60 days. And then it rolled around to that time. We did everything that we were supposed to. We did everything in the contract, and it just wasn't working for us. And so we reached out, tried to talk to him about it, be like, hey, what can we do? What is wrong here?
I was really just wanting him to like be more hands-on to like help us fix the problem.
Right, yeah. Because we were completely new to that. We had no idea what we were doing in that realm.
Yeah.
And we just had the feeling of, hey, if we don't make this work, we're having to go and put photography down and go get jobs. And so that was a very feeling-based decision. But yeah, that was based on feelings. We made that investment. It came to bite us. And then...
that was money lost.
Yeah, it sure was. That's the biggest thing. Like, I really hope that people see that if we do make decisions more so on the data and the facts and your reports and, like, you know, all of your quarterly things, like, do that. Look at the numbers before making a decision on, oh, well, I don't feel like this is going to work, or I feel like I should do this, because then buyer's remorse can come in, kind of like it did for us.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
We really didn't have the money to invest in that. And at the time, there wasn't even a way for us to do like, or he didn't offer at least like a payment plan type option or whatever.
Yeah, we went all in on it, on a feeling.
Yep. So that was a good one. But no, and like a couple feelings that like some of our students give me a lot is like, I don't feel like people like want me. I feel like there's other better photographers. Like I get that a lot of like, why would they, like I know they also inquired with this photographer and she's so much better, but like.
And it's almost offended. Like they're almost offended. And it's just like, these brides are looking at everybody right now. Like you're the one who has to step up to the plate and be like, hey, this is what makes me different and this is how I'm going to serve you and this is why you need to invest in me.
Yeah. Yep. Or like whenever you're going out to find your inquiries or to find your leads, of just knowing you're worth whatever you're asking and you're solving the problem that they have. So if you're like a videographer and you're going out to help like create corporate videos to put on websites or for like Instagram or whatever, like you're solving that problem. And if you see, hey, they already have a video on their website, you know, this restaurant already has a video of how they make their pizza dough. Well, great.
That means they really love the content of them making pizza dough, so they're going to do it again.
Well, they already see the value in paying and investing in someone doing a video for them on what their work looks like.
And they've also already probably seen a return on it. So they're like, oh, well, we got such a good return on this, we need to do it again.
You know, I remember when we did our video that's on our website, which we probably need to update, by the way, now that I think about it.
I love that video.
As soon as we did it, literally 2 months later, we had already made our investment back on it.
Yeah. That was one of the best investments we ever did.
Because people then could see us, and they felt like they knew us.
Yep. And we had multiple people be like, hey, I found you, and I inquired because of the video on your website, because we felt like you guys were for us.
I remember one of our friends, Tyler, I asked him to look at our website after we had done the website, and like he didn't respond for like 2 days, and I was like, did you get a chance to look at it? He's like, yeah, but I've just watched the video like 3 times. I was like, could you look at the rest of it?
I need you to look at the rest of everything else.
Can you make sure the links work on the homepage or something? But no, that just shows that it works. But like, if you see someone that is doing something that you're wanting to, or has had something done that you want to have had, or you want to do, if I can get this out, then that's great. That just means they already see the value. You don't have to sell them on, hey, this is going to help you make money. No, they already know it's going to help them make money. They already know it's a great investment for their business. They just need to update one. Like for us, the twins aren't in it, and Ollie's like a year old.
Yeah, 6 months. Was it 6 months?
I don't know. He was little.
We did it like May of 2021. So
like that needs to be redone. So like we don't need to be sold on, hey, this is the value of having a video for your business. We already know what the value for our business is.
Absolutely.
It makes us money. Of course we're going to do it. But yeah, That's another really good one. And I learned that when I sold insurance. So when I sold life insurance, if you would sit with a client and they would already have life insurance, I knew it was a really high chance I was going to close that deal because I didn't have to be like, hey, this is going to help your family if you die.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't have to go through that whole thing. I just had to figure out how much they wanted.
Right.
Because they already knew what this was.
Yeah.
I wasn't selling to them.
You had
I was order taken.
You pre-qualified them though, right? And the pre-qualification was based on the facts of their income, how much they wanted, all of that.
How much their mortgage was, all that type of stuff.
Who they needed to protect, who the beneficiary was going to be. It was all facts. You can go back and it was all the facts. So everybody was on the same page. And they can make their decision based on that.
Yeah, very true. I think one thing that happens a lot whenever you start getting into your head and you allow the feelings to take over is you start playing the victim.
Oh my gosh.
You go from a victim mindset to a winner mindset. And winners always find a way to win. Winning football teams always find a way to win. It doesn't matter if you like the team or not, they find a way to win.
Yep.
And people that are victims always find a way to be victimized.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, they didn't book me because you don't know why they didn't book you. That's a story you're telling yourself. Unless they're like, hey, your pricing was too much. Hey, I don't like your style. Those are great. I love those people because then it lets me know, hey, they weren't my client anyway.
Yeah, they just weren't for me.
Yeah.
And then you can always ask them, hey, is there a reason you didn't go with me? Or to better my business, is there something that we could have done better? And that's actually great facts to have too, moving forward.
You know what's even greater about it is whenever you have someone that completely ghosts you and you create the story of why they did it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You have no idea why they did it.
You can literally run that in your head all day long. You could make up 20 different scenarios of why they didn't book you.
Or they're not going to partner with me, or they're not going to hire me, or whatever the reason that you want to add in. They're not going to do it because.
Yeah.
Can we just start doubting whatever that doubt is and stop being the victim?
Yeah, let's normalize that.
If you stopped being the victim for 6 months, where could your business be? Mm-hmm. If you only looked for the opportunity and stopped looking for the way to be like, this happened to me, maybe it's happening for you. When I lost my job, it didn't happen to me, it happened for me. Didn't feel like it at the time. It sucked. I'm not saying that it don't suck, it does. But I'm just saying it's like a cold shower. There's no way to make a cold shower better. You just get in and you endure, right? And
you really want to get out.
Yeah. And you look for a way to get out. And that's exactly what happens in your business. If it's at a time that, you're running in and you're having a rough patch, or maybe you're not finding the clients or you're not getting hired like you want to get hired, just know that it's just a season to endure. You're just in a waiting place.
Right.
If you want to stay in that place forever and play the victim of I'm never going to find anybody, no one wants me, poor me, then yeah, you're going to stay there and it's going to suck.
Yeah.
Or you could just know, hey, this is a suck season for now, but it's a season, not a cycle. We're not going to do this again. We're just going to go through it this time and we're never going to have to go through this again. Right.
And then find your willingness to do something different, because that is a huge piece. Why would you keep doing the exact same thing you are failing at? Does that make any sense?
I mean, and just because you fail, it doesn't mean that just because you failed at something doesn't mean that you're a failure.
Yeah.
I could name off businesses that have failed and you wouldn't know who those businesses were, but you would know who the entrepreneur was, and you don't see that entrepreneur as a failure.
Well, can we also say that we see people from their successes too? You don't see everything that happened before. You see everything that happens when they get on top.
Yeah.
These huge brands, Nike, Chanel, all these big brands, they go through fail seasons. They go through launches that don't work. They go through things like that. Yeah. But you don't see that. You see they made this much money, or they had
Disney's
this
a great example of that.
That's a great example, yeah.
Disney just had Snow White flop.
Yeah.
Disney is a I'm sure, $1 trillion business when you've added up all the business they've done.
Right.
And no one thinks, oh my God, Disney's the worst ever. They can't run a business at all.
Right.
That flopped. Should have did something different. But
hopefully they learn from that mistake.
But they also had the original Snow White. Right. They're the reason that story got told.
Yeah.
Right?
The OGs.
So just because you have a failure doesn't mean that you are a failure. You are not the worst thing that's ever happened to you or the worst thing you've ever done. That's a victim mentality.
Right.
If the worst thing you've ever done, I failed. Yeah, well, you failed.
Get back on the horse.
Yeah, on to the next.
On to the next.
And that comes from being motivated or having discipline, not being motivated. Because if you go with your motivation, then you're always going to be up and down, on and off, hot and cold.
Always.
When you're really motivated and you're happy and you're like
Yeah, it's
giggly
Monday.
and oh yeah, I'm going in. This is going to be a great week. And then
come Thursday, you're just like, oh my gosh.
nobody wants me. Everybody hates me.
I sent out an email and no one replied. I
Yeah.
opened my minis and no one booked. This bride inquired. She totally ghosted me. Don't be a victim.
No, if you need to have discipline. Because businesses don't ever do well linearly. They always do well exponentially. And it's not because you do more work. It's because you do the same work.
Yeah.
You can't steer a parked car. And also, if you take your foot off the gas, or if you don't keep your foot on the gas, then you're never going to get where you're going. So doing it every single week when it's working and when it's not. Just because something doesn't work today doesn't mean that it's not working. Whenever you turn the stove on, that eye's not hot immediately, right?
It takes time to warm up.
It starts getting hot. It starts warming up. It starts really getting to where it's burning now, and then you can put the pot on it. Or you can put the pot on it before, and the water in the pot is not. As soon as you turn the stove on, it's not cooking, just there, and it gets hotter as the time goes on, right? It's same in business. Your business is cooking. This isn't a microwave. That's a get-rich-quick scheme.
Yeah.
We're cooking something to last. We're cooking something that's great. We're not microwaving anything. So if you have discipline,
we're not making instant rice.
We're
making the 20-minute rice.
Yeah, that discipline is going in and keeping that eye on every single day, and you keep the eye on it. It doesn't come off. That pot doesn't come off, and the water just keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and then it just gets to a boil.
Yep. Sometimes you got to put more pressure. You got to put the lid on it.
You got to. And there's things you can do to make that water boil faster, right?
Yep.
But like the biggest thing that you can't do is turn the eye off, because then you're basically starting all over.
It's got to reach the heat again.
Yeah, you got to. If that pot is boiling and you turn it off, it's going to stop boiling immediately. So we have to be disciplined and keep the eye on and keep the heat going to what we're cooking. Otherwise, we're never going to get there. If you're motivated, you turn the eye on all the way, you turn it all the way to high, and it starts getting hot, and then nothing's happening.
You burn your stuff like I used to do when we first got married. Scrape the rice off the bottom. It was very crunchy.
We ate at Jason's Deli a lot when we first got together.
We did. I loved their salad bar. That was a great salad bar.
Because it wasn't burnt.
Dang. There wasn't anything black and crusty on the salad bar, so I kind of lost. Ew, I hope there was nothing black and crusty on the salad bar. Like, man, that's mold, actually. Is mold crusty?
No.
Can
we get off of mold?
Anyways.
But I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, we were talking about keeping the heat on. So like if you're motivated on Monday and you crank the heat all the way up to 10, and then by Thursday when nothing happens, you just stop, or you go work on something else, or you don't pay attention to what you're doing, or you don't post, or you don't call nobody, and you turn the heat off, that water ain't cooking no more. It's not heating up.
Yeah.
And then when Monday comes back around, you're like, okay, no, I got to do it this week. And you turn it back on high. No, it's not cooking yet. Give it time.
Yeah, you have to be willing to wait on it. You have to be willing to sit there and wait on it.
It's just like the tortoise and the hare. Business is the hare every single time.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, and that's how he wins, is he doesn't stop. The tortoise stops. Or the tortoise doesn't stop.
Do you know what book you're talking about?
I don't know what the story is.
Okay.
So the tortoise doesn't stop. He keeps going. That's how he wins. And the hare, where he's stop and go and on and off, and he's motivated and he's not, and he's motivated and he's not, and he runs really hard because he's motivated and they don't.
Then he takes a nap.
Yes, exactly. That's how you end up losing your business. That's how you end up quitting, because you don't win when you think you should. But the problem is...
So then you give up, basically.
Yeah, you give up.
You just give up.
Because then you're the victim. I lost to someone I shouldn't have lost to.
Right.
My competitor came in and they got the business and I didn't.
I've been doing this way
Your
longer
competitor
than
never took their foot off the gas. Were they going 100? No, but they were going 60. They were always going 60. They never stopped going 60. That's how they won.
Consistency.
They were very consistent.
Yep.
But yeah.
Oh, I did hear something from Dr. Natasha that I wanted to share, because she was talking about people in prison and how there's people in prison that like they get released and they get to get out and they've already done their time and all of that. But a lot of them will come out and do the exact same thing that got them in there, even knowing the consequence, even knowing what happens if they get caught and do it again. So it's like being self-aware in your business of what is working and what is not. And whenever it's time to give up on something that's not working and whenever it's time to pivot. And I feel like that was a big piece of growth for us because there came a point of being, one, self-aware of what our business looked like and what we were doing and where we were at, and then what was our willingness to do something different. And so are you willing to go out there and talk to people face to face? Are you willing to put this content out there that may or may not reach someone? Are you willing to charge the prices that you want to charge to be able to make this a full-time thing? Like, what is your willingness to do something?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even like our business has changed over the past year where instead of a lot of small, like, shoots and sessions, like monetarily, like we're going after bigger clients and like you get told no just as much as you get told no at the bottom. It's just as hard to sell something for $50 as it is to sell something for $5,000.
Yeah.
And not getting told no is not, I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah, people are so scared of being told no. Is no the worst thing that can happen?
I mean, what happens if you get told no? You still have the same amount of money in the bank.
Right. The worst they can say is no. But what if they say yes?
What if they say yes?
It changes everything.
You only need one win. One win changes your whole mindset about it.
It does. And then you're ready to get after the other one.
The best time to get another win is right after you won, though.
Yes.
If you get a win and then you stop and you turn that heat off until Monday, then by Thursday of next week, it's, oh, God.
It was so hard to get that one.
Yeah, I put in so much work. It's not working. Ray, it just ain't working. What should I do?
Even though you just won a week ago and you can't focus on the win that you just got. You can't focus on the positive. You're harping on the negative. Get out of the negative. Yeah. You're choosing to stay in the negative. You're choosing to put yourself in a scarcity mindset. Get out of it.
What's a scarcity mindset?
Scarcity mindset is doing something, making decisions out of scarcity. Of, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money. If I just had this, then I would be successful. And you're blaming all of these other circumstances on stuff that you don't have. And that's not true. Because even if you get the, get the really nice car, you're not going to be making more money at your job. Even if you get the, really nice camera body, it doesn't make you a better photographer.
So someone has been listening through this whole podcast and they're like, all right, yeah, I'm making a lot of business decisions based on feelings. How can I recognize if I'm not making them on facts or how to make them on facts? Like, what should they do? Like, what's a piece of advice for them to start doing for the next 30 days?
Just become self-aware. Self-awareness only goes as far as your willingness to do something different. So what you're doing now, is it working for you? Is it getting you to the place that you want to be in the next 30 days? Because if it's not, and you're not willing to change, then you're just being self-aware. And there's a difference in being self-aware, and there's a difference in being self-intelligent. So are you going to be self-intelligent and make the change and do something different? Something that might move the needle, something that might work this time? Or are you just going to be self-aware and keep trying the thing that's not working? So I would challenge you to try to find something that you haven't done before and be willing to just go all in on it and just see how it works. See if it works. We're all testing here. Even now, we're still just testing stuff.
I think you test more as your business grows than when it's first.
Yeah.
When you first start it, you start testing a lot more things to see what works. For me, I think of a piece of advice that I would give whenever we were first trying to figure out, and I still do this probably more like just with like how I react to things, is if something makes me angry or I'm upset about something, before I react, I will literally wait like 10 hours to respond. Even if someone like emails me or texts me or whatever, because my initial reaction may be incorrect. Because I know, like when I used to like sell tires and when I was over warehouses, if somebody said something in the warehouse, I would immediately jump on top of whatever they said. I was very quick to come back, and that wasn't always the best.
Leadership.
Yeah, well, typically what's the leadership and probably structure.
Yeah.
Like I probably made bad decisions based on how I felt about something.
I mean, how many fist fights did you break up?
There was a few, yeah.
Right. I mean, just going off of emotion. Like,
yeah.
That's just what people do instinctually, naturally. That's what we do.
So like even now, like, and people don't always know, like we're busy. So sometimes my text messages, it might be 2 hours before I can respond. Because we might be doing something like this, or I might be on a call, or I might be shooting, right? So me not answering for an hour or two is not uncommon. but it might be that I just needed to take a break and not respond, so that way I don't respond incorrectly.
Yeah, hastily, and you can come.
And because my feelings are telling me something that might not be right.
Right.
Because someone might say something and they meant it from a good place, but how you read it or how it came across, or even just how you inputted some of the thoughts that you had about it, created the incorrect like outcome, or like you just felt bad, like you felt differently about how it should have happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, just take a break. Maybe it's 10 hours, maybe it's a day, maybe you need 24 hours before you make decisions based on your business, or maybe you need 48 hours, or you can get a mentor, or you can just get a friend to be like, hey, am I thinking of this wrong here, or am I right? Like, you just kind of tell me what your thoughts are. But
yeah, one thing that I would encourage people to do this week, a tangible thing that they could do, is find 2 people that know you really, really well and ask them, hey, what are 2 things that you really love about me? Like, just 2. Don't make it all about, like, oh, just shower me with compliments or whatever. But just find 2 things that they really love about you, and then ask them, hey, what are 2 things that you see that, like, I could work on? 2 things that could be a little bit better about me. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but just to help me move forward, what would those 2 things be?
yeah, no, that's good.
I'm going to do that this week.
That's good. Something else everybody listening to the podcast can do is go to wherever you're listening right now, leave a 5-star review, subscribe, hit the follow button. It really helps push this up in the algorithms and get it out to other creative entrepreneurs. We really appreciate you spending your time with us here, and look forward to seeing y'all next week. Later, y'all.